Welcome back to another episode of Quick Picks with the Geek. I am your host, Bro Power the Geek. All right, let's dive into the heart of betting strategy. This time, we're leaving the jokes behind and focusing on some intriguing live dogs I'm keeping my eye on, along with my strongest parlay and my bold pick for the lock of the night. So without further ado, let's get started. And yes, I said no jokes, but I may have a few. Don't cringe, just smile and accept it. First up on my radar is Walter Walker, who comes in at an enticing plus 168 on FanDuel Sportsbook. What draws me to Walker is his formidable grappling prowess and impressive submission skills. Since Kennedy moved up in weight class, he's been facing a string of relatively easy competition. In fact, his two heavyweight opponents have a combined record of just 3 wins out of 11 fights in the UFC. That's hardly impressive. Let's not forget that before moving up, he was on a 2-fight losing streak at light heavyweight. Walter is a sizable fighter who excels at bringing the action to the ground, a crucial factor here. While his striking leaves much to be desired, I don't anticipate him needing it in this matchup. His striking is like building a house of cards in a wind tunnel. It might stand for a second, but don't expect it to hold up under pressure. The only scenario where I see him faltering is if he exhausts himself early. However, at plus money, taking that risk feels worthwhile, especially considering Kennedy isn't exactly a world-class competitor. Next on my list is Tuco Tokos. Much like Walker, Tuco has solid grappling skills and a clear path to victory. He simply needs to secure a takedown against an opponent who has been notoriously easy to bring down in his UFC career so far. If Tafa's takedown defense were any lower, it'd have a clearance tag. Yes, Tafa packs serious power, but when pressured with grappling, he tends to flounder. Tafa has shown little sign of improvement in this area. Now, I recognize Tuco has had some issues with his chin, but this fight could very well determine whether he gets re-signed or finds himself back on the regional circuit. And let's be honest, nobody wants to fight for free in a shopping mall food court. If I'm aware of his vulnerabilities, I'm sure he is too. Therefore, he must understand that trying to outstrike a power puncher isn't the way to go. His best chance lies in utilizing his grappling skills. On paper, this should be Tuco's fight to lose. I suspect Tafa's name recognition is what makes him the favorite here. Now on to my strongest parlay, a 4-leg beauty. First up is Chidi Njokuani. I'm really excited about this matchup for him at welterweight. I believe he'll dominate the striking exchanges. Jake may attempt some grappling moves, but I don't foresee him having much success there either. Chidi struggled with size at middleweight, but now that he's dropped down a weight class, those concerns are behind him. Currently sitting at minus 158 odds, that's excellent value. Next in line is Chris Curtis. This one is straightforward. I think Max Griffin will get outstruck here. While Griffin brings volume to the table, Curtis showcases slick footwork and mixes up his targets beautifully, landing solid body hooks along the way. I anticipate an easy win for Curtis as he thrives in this lower weight class. Following that is Gabriel Bonfim at minus 430 odds. This matchup appears promising as Wonderboy tends to struggle against grapplers, and Bonfim fits that mold perfectly while also possessing knockout power. I envision him either getting the fight to the ground or applying pressure against the fence to secure rounds. Wonderboy versus grapplers is like paper versus scissors. He knows how it ends, but he gives it a good go anyway. Finally, we have Steve Garcia at minus 130 odds. I really like this matchup for Steve. Calvin poses threats, but Garcia's aggression combined with his wrestling could make all the difference here. While Calvin still possesses skillful striking, it seems he's on a downward trajectory. And this matchup against a tenacious opponent like Steve could prove problematic. Calvin is like an older lion, still dangerous, but don't expect him to chase down a wildebeest. So there you have it. My 4-leg parlay brings us odds of plus 370, a promising value. If you're feeling adventurous, consider mixing in a dog or two for an even juicier payout. Just remember, adventurous is one step away from why did I do this to myself? And now for my lock of the night, which happens to be Steve Garcia as well. It caught me off guard to see him listed only as a minus 130 favorite. I'll be placing a straight moneyline bet on him. Fingers crossed. May the MMA gods be less chaotic than usual this weekend. While this matchup won't be easy for Steve, Calvin hasn't demonstrated strong grappling abilities lately, thus, I doubt he'll secure any takedowns. If this fight stays standing, which favors power, Garcia should have an edge. Both fighters possess solid chins and striking capabilities. However, I believe Calvin tends to absorb damage poorly, which could certainly influence judges' decisions if it goes that route. One question lingers: how does Calvin secure victory? It's hard for me to envision him outpointing Steve or finding a finish. yet I can easily picture Steve winning by decision or possibly even scoring a finish. I also think Bonfim is a lock. I just like the odds on Steve better. All right, everyone, thanks for tuning in today. Let's keep our fingers crossed that our strongest parlay and underdog picks come through. There's some exciting value on this card from a betting perspective. Good luck with your bets and enjoy the fights this weekend. Join me again next week for more predictions. May your bets be ever in your favor, and may the fights be as entertaining as watching people at work argue over politics. If you enjoyed this, go ahead and smash that like button. If you haven't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss a beat when the next video drops. And don't be shy. Leave a comment below and let me know what bets you're eyeing this weekend. Let's see who really has the crystal ball around here. Until next time.